His tongue go. Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Pritchard for another episode of Pritchard's Podcast for Civics. So we've learned about the Constitution and the preamble to the Constitution. Now we're going to move on to the next part, and that's Article 1, the legislative branch, also known as Congress. Congress has the important job of making laws, but that's something we're going to talk about down the road when we talk about the lawmaking process. This video is going to be about the structure of the legislative branch, and there's a word you need to know. It's bicameral. It means two houses because our legislative branch, or Congress, has a House of Representatives and the Senate. So that's what we're going to be looking at throughout the rest of this video. Capitol Building is the home of our Congress, and it's one of my favorite buildings in Washington, D.C. to visit. On the north end of the Capitol is the Senate, and the Senate is the smaller of the two houses. There's a good shot of our senators there. We have 2 senators per state, and since there's 50 states, of course, that makes 100 senators total. A senator represents the entire state, so they are their constituency. And to be a senator, there are 3 qualifications. You have to be 30 years old, you have to have been a citizen for at least 9 years, and you have to be a resident of the state you represent. So you can't be from Florida and then represent the state of Georgia. Next up is the Senate leadership, and first we talk about the Vice President of the United States, who interestingly is also the President of the Senate. He's in charge of the Senate, and he also is the tie-breaking vote. If they ever have a tie, which they can, then he breaks the tie. And if he's not there, then the Senate pro tempore is the person who's in charge, and he's the senator who has the most years in the Senate, the most seniority. And in this case, the man's name is Senator Orrin Hatch of Utah. So those are the 2 leaders of the Senate. Like every state, Florida has 2 senators. Our 2 senators currently are Bill Nelson, the Democrat, who is a former astronaut and has served the longer of the 2, and Marco Rubio, a Republican from Miami, a Cuban American, who most recently has thrown his hat in the ring, we believe at least, to run for president in 2016. Let's go to the other side of the Capitol building, to the south side, where we find the House of Representatives. Now, this house is the larger of the 2 houses, and it's a little bit more complicated and a little bit harder to remember than the Senate, because for one, the number of members there are per state depends on the population of that state. So in other words, the larger the state, the more members or votes they get for that state. Let's take a look at it on a map. Florida is a large state, and so you can see there we have 27 members in the House of Representatives. And you look around the country, states like Texas or California, which are also big, also have a large number of votes or members of Congress or in the House. Notice other states have very few, like Montana or North Dakota or South Dakota. These states only have 1 because their populations are so small. Let's look on a map of Florida. You'll see there that Florida is divided into 27 districts. In other words, the 27 members of the House of Representatives represent 27 different districts, each one averaging about 711,000 people. And you see there on the circle right there, the district we live in, District 17. So you see there Arizona with its 9 districts, or California with its 53 different districts, represented by 53 people in the House. There's Alaska, even though it's a large state in land, it has a small population, only 1 vote. And then there's Connecticut, a small state, but 6 votes. So if you take all the states and their districts and put it together in this map of the United States, you'll see it's kind of a strange looking map, this puzzle of all these different districts, all about 711,000 people in size, and each one represented by 1 member in the House of Representatives. Makes for a lot of members in the House of Representatives, 435 to be exact, and each one of those 435 members represents a district, so their constituency are those 711,000 people more or less who live in their district. If you want to be a member of the House of Representatives, you have to be 25, you have to be a citizen for at least 7 years, and you have to be a resident of the state again that you represent. Next, we're going to look at House leadership, and the one we're going to focus on is the Speaker of the House. He is the man in charge of the House because the people or the members of the House chose him. And he is also next in line of the presidency after the vice president. In this case, our Speaker of the House is John Boehner of Ohio. He's a Republican, and he's been there for a number of years now. The person who represents us in the House of Representatives is Tom Rooney. Tom Rooney has been representing our area, District 17, for the past few years. He's a Republican, and he actually lives in Okeechobee. He moved there a few years ago, and he lives somewhere in the county. I don't know where, but he represents us. You can see the map there, District 17, stretching from our area all the way over to the West Coast. All right, well, that wraps things up. Hopefully you got all the parts of the chart filled in. If not, go back and watch it again. Pause, rewind, whatever you need to do. And remember too to make sure to write those questions, at least 3, and write your summary as well in the next couple of days. So we'll see you back in class, and have a good one. Till then, so long.